Ryan, obviously it's been a little while since we've seen you. I want to ask you what's the last year been like for you? Because I imagine you're at a high coming off the win, and then you're kind of forced to sit back and wait a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get to compete as much as maybe would have liked, but I feel great. I really tried to make my best use I could at the time off. It really wasn't off. It was just right back into training because kind of all I do. So I really feel that it's been a great opportunity to make huge strides, and I'm a very different fighter than I was in December of last year, and I look forward to showing that.
Nice. You had a fight booked this summer, but obviously that fell through. Were you a little bit disappointed or upset in the way it was handled that you weren't able to get another fight?
I mean, it's just kind of the nature of the game. MMA is unreliable work. It's just the reality of the situation. It's not a baseball game, And if the other guy, everything is dependent upon only two people. So it's just kind of what happens. Of course, I was disappointed to not fight, but again, kind of tried to channel that into something productive and work as best I could to keep on improving.
Essentially, I mean, I think you're taking it very positive. You're a guy that's certainly been around martial arts for a long time. But, I mean, was there any, kind of mental check along the way that you weren't able to build off the momentum that you got from winning the Ultimate Fighter?
Honestly, not really. All I care about is just improving as best I can. Fighting is just an opportunity to stress test everything. And, when you get the opportunity to do that, it's fantastic. I fought 4 times last year in the span of like 4 months, so that was a lot of fun. But, it is what it is, and you just keep on doing your thing. I would be happy whether I was competing or not, although I'd prefer to compete.
Matched up with Gray Maynard, a guy that's certainly a very distinguished career, had some ups and downs, but looked impressive last time out. What did you think when you were presented with this fight?
I remember when I was called. Usually, I send a text to my coaches and say, "Hey guys, what do you think? Who's this guy?" We skipped that one for this one. I was like, "Yep, I'll take the fight." Anytime I didn't get into this sport to fight bums. I got into being against the best because that's how I did it in jiu-jitsu, and that's how you learn and that's how you grow. And Gray represents a challenge like that. I'm really excited to face him. He's a very, like you said, very tough guy, very distinguished career, and I'm looking forward to having the opportunity to test myself against someone of that caliber.
You talk about developing as a martial artist and developing as a fighter. I wonder what has been your focus, because I feel like a lot of times we see guys that are really great at something and they want to show the world that they're well-rounded, and maybe they do, maybe they don't, but sometimes they forget about what got them to the dance, what made them so great at what they are. So what's your focus been? Are you a guy that feels like you have to show the world that you're well-rounded, or do you feel like what you do is so unique and so good that you can survive on that?
Well, I mean, obviously, there's always things that you have to continue improving on, but at the same time, first off, I can say that I care about what I think, and I care about what the people very close to me think, and beyond that, I'm not here to impress anyone. If people think it's neat, that's cool, and I'm flattered. But at the end of the day, all that I care about is my development as a martial artist. So actually, it is pretty important to me personally to continue to develop as a striker and as a wrestler, which is something that that really carried me a long way in jiu-jitsu at the end, being able to wrestle a little bit. And unfortunately, by the time I got pretty decent at wrestling, I was done competing in jiu-jitsu. That was a shame. Didn't get to get the full benefit of that. But looking back, I'm very glad to walk that path, because I see a lot of guys coming from the jiu-jitsu world that spend all the time. They're like, "Oh, I'm really good at the guard. Or I'm really good at this. I'm really good at that." And then 10 years on, they're still that guy. And yeah, they're very dangerous, but they've reached a level of opposition where everyone's dangerous, and now people know how to avoid your good stuff. So basically, I feel that on the show and in the finale, I demonstrated way better striking than people realize, and it's very strange to me that people keep going like, "Oh, he's a beginner." I'm like, I absolutely kicked the other guys in the face way more than they hit me, and yeah, I'm not. It's nowhere near the jiu-jitsu level, but I'm working very hard to try to do that, and I'm training with great guys like Tan Lee, who was on the show as well, is like a real life ninja. Trying to continue sharpening everything, but I feel confident no matter where the fight goes.
Very nice. Well, it's been a year since we've seen you, so what do we see on Saturday night?
You'll see my best. I don't focus on the outcome. I know that I have the tools to beat anybody, but I know a fight is a fight, and it's the better fighter doesn't win. The guy that fights better wins, and I look forward to doing my best to pull that off.